11th chapter, the universal form, verse number 44. Tasmat pranamya pranidaya kayam prasadaye tvam aham ishamidyam piteva putrasya sakeva sakyo priya priyaya arhasi deva sodhum. Tasmat pranamya pranidaya kayam prasadaye tvam aham ishamidyam piteva putrasya sakeva sakyo priyaya arhasi deva sodhum. Tasmat pranamya pranidaya kayam prasadaye tvam aham ishamidyam piteva putrasya sakeva sakyo priyaya arhasi deva sodhum. Word to word. Tasmat, therefore, pranamya, offering obeisances, pranidaya, laying down, kayam, the body, prasadaye, to beg mercy, tvam, unto you, aham, I, isham, unto the Supreme Lord, idyam, worshipable, pita eva, like a father, putrasya, with a son, sukha eva, like a friend, sakyu, with a friend, priya, a lover, priyaya, with the dearmost, arhasi, you should, deva, my lord, sodhum, tolerate. Translation by His Divine Grace C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus, I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask you for mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend, the impertinence of a friend, or a husband, the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. Please repeat. You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus, I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As the father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend, the impertinence of a friend, or a husband, the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna's devotees relate to Krishna in various relationships. One might treat Krishna as a son, or one might treat Krishna as a husband, as a friend, or as a master. Krishna and Arjuna are related in friendship. As the father tolerates, or the husband or a master tolerates, so Krishna tolerates. So we'll try to understand. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langete Girim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Devatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhayeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamiham Dadati Swapadantam Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta ki jai. So here, so first of all, we are in the 11th chapter, 44 verse, the universal form. So we'll quickly run through the sections, and then we'll try to understand this verse, the first two lines, especially important, significant, and try to see some of the examples. And yeah. So here the chapter 11 is categorized as first 1 to 8 is Arjuna's requesting the vision of the universal form, and then Lord Krishna's description of the universal form after Arjuna is asking that. Then 9 to 32 is the second section where Sanjay is describing the description of the universal form, Arjuna's vision. So very long. Sanjay is one of the biggest chapter in this, and this is the chapter in this out of 18 chapters. 32 to 34 is time I am, I'll become my instrument. And then the fourth section, today's verse is falling under that fourth section. 35 to 46, Arjuna's prayers. And then the last section is 47 to 55. Only pure devotees see Krishna's two-armed form. So here we see that especially the word used, Tasmat pranamya pranidaya kayam prasadaye tvam aham ishamidyam. So Arjuna is submitting, especially is using again multiple times, pranamya and pranidaya kayam, offering obeisances, falling down, and with the body. So what does it mean? So it has significance, greater significance. So pranidaya means placing the body on the earth like a rod out of respect. And some acharyas are also describing. So that means bowing down with full prostrate obeisances with all the 8 limbs of the body, touching 8 parts of the body on the earth. I beg you, worshipful Lord, you should tolerate my offenses. O Lord, Arjuna describes who can tolerate whose offense. Father tolerates son's offenses, friend tolerates his friend's offenses. It seems to be an offense because now, seeing Krishna's great powers, Arjuna considers himself as a servant, not a friend. Therefore, his friend Krishna should forgive him, dropping the. So that's what here Arjuna is submitting. So he was a friend, but now he's submitting as a servant. He understood that I have used so many different words and I insulted. So that's why he's submitting and asking the Lord to forgive him. So the 8 parts of the 8 limbs of the body, when someone offers obeisances, those are 2 hands, 2 feet, a chest, head, voice, and mind. So that is explained in different places about those parts of the body described. Even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This has been explained. Even Sri Prabhupada explains, and Sri Prabhupada even for a woman disciple at the time of initiation, Prabhupada himself was very happy and pleased because he told just before that he told he was not happy when somebody was doing half obeisances. Then even the women disciples, those who came to pick up the beads, they also started following that instruction. So Prabhupada was chuckled and Prabhupada was very happy to see that disciples following the instruction. So we'll quickly run through that. Then we'll please mute your lines. Mesa Prabhu, can you mute the others? So Shropa Goswami, when he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so where he offered Dandavat Pranam, Sloka Padi Aiche Prabhu, Avishta Haya, Ropa Gosani Asi Pade Dandavat Dhana. After reading the verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into an ecstatic mood. While he was in that state, Sri Rupa Goswami came and immediately fell down on the floor like a rod. The word danda means rod or a pole. A rod or a pole falls straight. Similarly, when one offers obeisances to his superior with all 8 angas or parts of the body, he performs what is called dandavas. Sometimes we only speak of dandavas, but actually do not fall down. In any case, dandavat means falling down like a rod or before one's superior. The 8 parts of the body are described as Dobhyam, Padbyam, Cha, Janubhyam, Purasa, Sirasa, Drisha, Manasa, Vachasa, Cheti, Pranamo, Astanga, Iritaha. One should bow down with both arms, both feet, both knees, the chest, head, the eyes, heart, and words. This is called bowing down with 8 parts of the body, Hari Bhakta Glass 8.360. Dandavat is in the category of Vandanam, one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Akrura has perfected Vandanam. So Prabhupada writes, Vandana means namaskuru, offering obeisances or offering prayers. Another way to offer respects with one's body involves 5 parts: knees, arms, head, intellect, and words. Haribhakti Vilas 8.361. The simplest form of Vandanam is the Anjali Mudra or Pranam Mudra, where the devotee folds the hands and slightly bows the head. Vandanam refers to the offering of prayers. The prayers can be said with or without specific body postures. On the other hand, when offering respect with one's body, one should recite a prayer or a mantra aloud. This is from Nectar Devotion. And in the Skanda Purana, it is written, a person who bows down before the Lord Vishnu is glorified and Vishnu Loka for a period of time equal to 1,000 years multiplied by number of particles of dust that decorated his body as he bowed down. Quoted in Haribhakti Vilas 8.371. And Rupa Goswami tells us that such a practice gives this result. The person who has once offered respects bowing down before the deity will not come back to this world, because he will go directly to the abode of Krishna. Nectar Devotion, chapter 9. Haribhakti Subodhaya states, a devotee who falls down to the ground to offer Dandavat obeisance to Lord Vishnu drops all his sins at that spot. They will never rise from there again. What is perhaps astonishing is this statement: a hypocrite who makes a show of bowing down before Lord Krishna, who holds a saranga bow, becomes purified of hundreds of sins. His sins are destroyed in a moment. We should not be surprised at such wonderful result, for Krishna himself had said that in Bhagavad Gita 9.34. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisance to me, and worship me, being completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. Externally, the act of offering Dandavat may seem simple and even ritualistic, but performed with attention and care, it binds the loving soul and the beloved Lord in eternal union of loving surrender. So this is what is the significance, and we'll see further significance, importance, why Arjuna is offering obeisances and what does it represent. And first we'll give a Prabhupada example. Prabhupada is mentioning, women offering Dandavat. Even the later years of his time, so Prabhupada, Ramaniya Mataji in New Mayapur, France in 1976, when the first devotees were called to come up to pick up their beads from Prabhupada and recite 4 regulative principles, they were bowing down in front of Prabhupada but not full out Dandavats. So Prabhupada said that everyone should give full Dandavats when they come in front of him to receive their beads. Then Mataji came, then she was not sure, because women are supposed to offer only five parts of the body, Panchanga. I mentioned earlier, read the Haribhakti Vilas. So she asked her god sister, what should I do? Should I give Dandavats or not? And I said, why not? So she went in front of Prabhupada and gave full Dandavats. So then Prabhupada had a big smile. He was very pleased for following this instruction. And she also, Prabhupada wrote to a disciple about this. You have also mentioned to repeatedly offer obeisance to your spiritual master. This is very important. November 5, 1974. A disciple should offer Dandavats, not Namaskar. The more one becomes fixed up in Guru obeisances, the more he advances in spiritual progress. Because this is the first one. Ado Guru Ashtraya. Acharya Upasanam. This is the first and foremost principle. And so we see that even when Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw the Lord, immediately offered the obeisances. Tad darsanena gata sadprasad kshita avadata angam vinam maya dandavat digyam prapasyan prapivan iva arpakas chumban ivasyena bujeri ivasrisham. When Dhruva Maharaj saw his Lord just in front of him, he was greatly agitated and offered him obeisances and respect. He fell flat before him like a rod and became absorbed in love of God. Dhruva Maharaj in ecstasy looked upon the Lord as if he were drinking the Lord with his eyes, kissing the lotus feet of the Lord with his mouth, embracing the Lord with his arms. So in this way we can see now. Now we need to understand, when Arjuna is surrendering like this, what does it mean for the bhakti yogis especially? This is very important. Generally, when somebody comes to the temple, what they will do? So they will bring something. That's what is the instruction. Whenever in what is that? Gajendra Moksha, we see that even Gajendra, after fighting 1,000 years, even then he was ready. He's offering flower and offering obeisances, even in that condition. offering a flower in one hand, and then is offering prayers, trying to offer obeisances. Beautiful prayers is offering, and Lord is also leaving everything else. His sandals he left and everything. And, even the Garuda couldn't go at that speed of Lord. He wanted to immediately go. He didn't even tell his goddess of fortune, his wife. He didn't tell his attendant where he was going. Lord was in so hurry because Gajendra was very much in distress. Sa anta sarasi urubalena gruhita ardo drushva garutmati harimka upaka chakram ukshipya sa ambuja karam giramaha krishnan narayana kilo gro bhagavan namaste. Is offering Narayana kilo gro bhagavan namaste, simply offering obeisances, and he is offering this flower. So whenever somebody goes to the deity, Lord, to the temple, or to the guru, or to the king, so one must take something. So that's why that's why we see people taking something when they go to temple. That is the first and foremost instruction. And for devotees, there is further instruction. When Arjuna is offering in this way, that means one must offer our whole life, our life itself, our body, our mind, our whole life. So that's why it says, when Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami how one can be delivered from this condition of sinful life. In the 5th chapter, 5th canto, at the end of sinful life, hellish, 26 hellish planets, and Sukadeva Goswami started describing. Nahi tata agavan rajan puyeta tata adivi tat krishnatmita pranas tat purusha nishevaya. So tat purusha nishevaya means one who is the dedicated his life in preaching the Krishna consciousness. So he is the tat purusha nishevaya means one who has dedicated his life in the service of the Supreme Lord. That is called tat purusha nishevaya. So one must give his life and soul to that person who has engaged, that spiritual master, pure devotee of the Lord. So by that, he can be, otherwise the austerity, penance, none of them can purify the living entity, the soul, the conditioned soul. So, nahi tata agavan rajan, agam is sinful activity. Uye tata adivi, the austerity, penance, charity, sacrifice, none of them. Only it can is tat purusham tata krishnarpita prana. One must give his life to the tata arpita krishnarpam tat purusha nisheva, to the person who has dedicated their life. So then he can be delivered. So that's why in also Dhruva Maharaj pastime, where Sri Prabhupada is mentioning, this problem is we don't have that faith. So bhakti is easy for one who is fully surrendered. Here this exhibit Arjuna is exemplifying the surrender, process of surrender. In the 4th canto, 8th chapter, verse number 30, Prabhupada is beautifully explaining why for one, how bhakti process is easy for one, and then is able to surrender. For some, it is not easy. So what is the difference? The process of bhakti is simultaneously very difficult and very easy to perform. In Narada Muni, the supreme spiritual master is testing Dhruva Maharaj to see how determined he is to prosecute devotional service. This is the process of accepting a disciple. The great sage Narada has come to Dhruva under the direction of Supreme Personality of Godhead just to initiate him. He is testing Dhruva Maharaj's determination to execute the process. Here, this is important line. It is a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy. But for one who is not determined and sincere, the process is very difficult. And now, how do we get determination? So, Narada Muni explaining to Yudhishthira Maharaj about how we can get determination. And so, beautiful verses, but ultimately gives a easy solution. So that we must follow. Narada Muni explaining Yudhishthira Maharaj how one can get of determination. So because we have so many desires, unwanted desires, because the 6 anarthas, Arishad Vargas, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. So that's why in Chaitanya Chandramrita, Prabodhananda Saraswati is saying in Kalikal, especially, this is the greatest difficulty. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur in his lecture in 1928 is explaining this. Kalakali Balina Indriya Vairi Vargya Sri Bhakti Marga Iha Kantaka Koti Ruddha aha payami vilaka kim aham karomi chaitanya chandra yadi nadya krupam karosi. This is the quarreling age. The senses, which are our enemies, are now very powerful, and crores of thorns choke the path of pure bhakti. I am quite at a loss to know what shall I do or where shall I go unless Chaitanya Chandra shows mercy unto me. We live in this Kali Yuga, in the age of strife. So it happens that self-luminous path of pure devotion is completely covered up with millions of thorns in the shape of foolish arguments and worldly wranglings. In these circumstances, it is absolutely impossible to have the knowledge of pure devotion without the mercy of Chaitanya Chandra. Sri Chaitanya Chandra is Krishna himself. He is the Godhead. We cannot know God by the exertion of our senses. So samsara dukkha jalado patitasya kama krodad nakra makarai kavali kratasya durvasana negatitasya nisha ashtrayasya Chaitanya Chandra mamadehi padavalambam. Further, Prabodhana Saraswati, O Sri Chaitanya Chandra, I have fallen into the ocean of material miseries, where I am swallowed by the crocodiles and sharks of lust and anger, and bound up by the chains of wicked desires. Give this helpless soul a shelter at your lotus feet. When a soul falls into the ocean of misery, is completely helpless. When one asks, why should you be helpless in this world? Don't you have a mother and father, sons and daughters, friends and relatives? Why do you feel so helpless then? Then the answer is, my parents, brothers and children, all of them are similarly struggling helplessly in this terrible ocean, being attacked by their six enemies, namely lust, anger, greed, and so on, which are like sharks and crocodiles that are snapping and chewing on them without the mercy of the devotees or without taking shelter of Sri Govinda's lotus feet. Yogis, karmis, jnanis, and cannot escape from these sharks and crocodiles. So, such an important statement, very, very important. Then what is the solution? Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself is explaining to Uddhava, greatest devotee, close devotee. He is telling in part to Uddhava itself, you are the dearmost, even more dear to me than my own life, even more dear to me than even goddess of fortune, more dear to me than all the demigod Brahma, Indra, Rudra, even more than Sankarsana, Lord Sankarsana, to Uddhava. And then he is telling to Uddhava also in Ayala Gita 11:26-26. An intelligent person should therefore reject all bad association. Instead, take up the association of saintly devotees, whose words cut off the excessive attachment of one's mind. Tato dussangam utsrijya satsu sajjeda buddhiman shanta evasya chintanti mano vyasangam muktivihi. That dussangam means many times we think not associating with others. Doesn't know. Even when we are alone, the mind is having these six anarthas, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsarya. Body is here. Even while being in the temple, while worshipping the altar, while cooking, while doing so many services, mind is sometimes somewhere else. This is called dussanga. Means the mind is in the association of the material objects. Mind is in some other association, not in the association of the pure devotee, not remembering the pure devotee, not remembering the Supreme Lord, nor his holy name, nor his rupa, nor his qualities or pastimes. So that's why one must take the shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, and he must be looked at not as a human being, not even elevated, not even as a demigod. So that is, we are coming to it. How one must see. So as good as Supreme Lord. That also Lord explains. So that's why here very important. Sajjay. One must purify himself. Intelligent person. Give up the dussanga within. So that's why determination doesn't happen. So the gradual Narada Muni is explaining to Yudhishthira Maharaj on this, how one can be determined, how one can give up this lust, anger, greed, illusion. So Mada, Moha, Matsarya, all these aspects one by one is explaining, and at the end he gives very simple and easy solution. So where asankalpad jayet kamam krodham kama vivarjanat anardha ardha anardha ikshaya lobham bayam tattva avamarstanat. By making plans with the determination, one should give up lusty desires for sense gratification. Similarly, By giving up envy, one should conquer anger. By discussing the disadvantage of accumulating wealth, one should give up greed. And by discussing truth, one should give up fear. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that one can conquer lusty desires for sense gratification. One cannot give up thinking of women, for thinking in this way is natural. Even while walking on the street, one will see so many women. However, if one is determined not to live with women, even while seeing women, will not become lusty. One is determined not to have sex, he can automatically conquer lusty desire. The example given in this regard is that even one is hungry on a particular day, is determined to observe fasting. He can naturally conquer the disturbances of hunger and thirst. If one is determined not to be envious of anyone, he can naturally conquer anger. Similarly, one can give up the desire to accumulate wealth simply by considering how difficult it is to protect money in one's possession. If one keeps a large amount of cash with him, he is always anxious about keeping it properly. Thus, if one discusses the disadvantage of accumulating wealth, he can naturally give up this business without difficulty. Further, elaborating on how one can conquer lamentation and illusion. Anvikshikya soka mohau dambam mahat upasaya yoga anatrayan maunena himsam kamadi anihaya. By discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles on the path of mystic yoga. And simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. If one's son has died, one may certainly be affected by lamentation and illusion and cry for the dead son. But one may overcome lamentation and illusion by considering the verses of Bhagavad Gita. Further, is explaining, Narada Muni is explaining this to Maharaj. Krupaya bhutajam dukkham daivam jahya samadhina atmajam yoga viryena nidram sattva nishevaya. By good behavior and freedom from envy, one should counteract sufferings due to the other living entities. By meditation in trance, one should counteract sufferings due to providence. And by practicing Hatha Yoga, Pranayam, so forth, one should counteract sufferings due to the body and mind. Similarly, by developing mode of goodness, especially in regard to eating, one should conquer sleep. One should conquer sleep. Wow. By practice, one should avoid eating in such a way that other living entities will be disturbed and suffer. Since I suffer when I pinched or killed by others, I should not attempt to pinch or kill or any living entity. People do not know that because of killing innocent animals, they themselves will have to suffer severe reactions from material nature. Any country where people indulge in unnecessary killing of animals will have to suffer from wars and pestilence imposed by material nature, comparing one's own suffering to the suffering of others. And today we see that wars everywhere. One cannot avoid suffering inflicted by providence. Therefore, when suffering comes, one should fully absorb himself in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very important verses now coming. Rajas tamastu satvena sattvam cha upasamena cha etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho hi anjasat jayet. One important instruction, first one, etat sarvam. Now, so far, so many instructions. To get determination, how to give up kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsarya. 3 verses. But now, to get all those, it's very difficult. But this one process can kick out all those. Rajas tamasta satvena sattvam cha upasamena cha. One must conquer the mode of passion and ignorance by developing the mode of goodness. So far, it's been discussed. And then one must become detached from the mode of goodness by promoting oneself to the platform Suddha Sattva. Till this point, this is the end of all that list. But now, immediately, all this can be automatically done. Etat sarvam guru bhaktya. Purusho hi anjasa jayet. If one engages in the service of spiritual master with faith and devotion, because one must use everything to please. That's why Arjuna is submitting completely with a full 100% to please the Supreme Lord, not to please his senses. Mostly we are under some percentage of swardha, not on the parardha, not paramartha. We are not, that's it, that purusha nishevaya. Krishnarpita prana must be ready to offer everything and anything. Especially those who are initiated means it is not our body anymore. It has given to Guru and Krishna. And one must be seeing Guru as Supreme Lord himself, non-different, the complete 100%. There shouldn't be any, not even a tinge of a doubt. Because we don't have that faith. That's where the problem comes. So that's why otherwise this two lines, etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho hi anjasa jayet. All this can be automatically done if one engages in the service of spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. Just by the Prabhupada gives wonderful purport. Just by treating the root cause of an ailment, one can conquer all bodily pains and sufferings. Similarly, one is devoid and faithful to the spiritual master. He can if one is devoted, he can conquer the influence of Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna very easily. Yogis and Jnanis practice in many ways to conquer the senses, but the Bhakta immediately attains the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. Isya prasadat bhagavat prasad. If the spiritual master is favorably inclined, one naturally receives the mercy of Supreme Lord. And by the mercy of Supreme Lord, one is immediately becomes transcendental, conquering all the influence of Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna within this material world. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sagunan samtityetam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. If one is a pure devotee acting under the direction of the Guru, one easily gets the mercy of the Supreme Lord and thus becomes immediately situated in transcendental plane. Now, this is the important verse, the topmost verse. Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati. Directly you can see clearly. Narada Muni himself, spiritual master himself, is explaining to the Yudhishthira. Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati. Guru is represented Sakshad, almost as good as God. There is no lower position is being given. Sakshad Bhagavati. Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati Gnana Deepa Prade Guru Martya Asadi Srutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sochvat. There are two things. Vitreka Anvaya has been mentioned here. One is the one who is engaging in Guru's service as is not different. Just like Lord is in front of you, how you will serve. Like that, one who is thinking Guru as, because he is the master, Lord and master. The Acharyas explain. Just like if you go to Mayapur, Radha Madhav, Narsingh Dev, Rajapur Jagannath, or you go to Vrindavan, Krishna Balram, whose deity is it? Is it our Lord? No. Just like we go to our temple, Shri Radha Syam Sundar, Shri Gaurnita, Jagannath Baldev, Subhumaran. Whose deities are those? Who installed it? On whose behalf? Sri Prabhupada's Murti. Sri Prabhupada's mercy. Who is invited? Sri Prabhupada and his representative invited the Lord. Who has done? We haven't done it. We don't have a qualification to do. So when we go in front of the Lord, we must be thinking of that personality by whose mercy Lord appeared. Then Lord may not listen to our prayers. Lord will listen to the person who has invited, because it is their deity. That personality is deity Ishtadeva. So that's why it is very, very important to remember. We try to run towards holy places or run towards deity, but we forget the spiritual master and we forget the Prabhupada's position. Here that's why it is clearly mentioned. Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati Gnana Deepa Prade Guru. One who is thinking other way. Martya Asaddi Srutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sochva. Whatever we may do, we may be scholar in speaking classes, or we may be expert in dressing, we may be expert in garland, whatever we may do, Sarvam Kunjara Sochvat. It just simply not going to actually transform our heart. That's what it is. Now we see the beautiful purport. The spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord, because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Consequently, for one who maintains the material conception that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies, knowledge are like a bathing of an elephant. It is recommended that one honor the spiritual master as being as on an equal status with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakshat Daritvena Samasta Sastre. This is enjoined in every scripture. Acharya Mam Vijaniyat. Lord Krishna himself, even Lord Krishna himself is telling Uddhava, Acharya Mam Vijaniya. Spiritual master is, I am. So I am coming as spiritual master. So one should consider the Acharya to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In spite of all these instructions, if one considers the spiritual master as an ordinary human being, one is doomed. His study of the Vedas and his austerity, his penances for enlightenment are all useless, like the bathing of an elephant. Elephant bathes in a lake quite thoroughly, but as soon as it comes on the shore, it takes some dust from the ground and strews it over the body. Thus, there is no meaning of elephant's bath. One may argue by saying that since the spiritual master relatives and the men of his neighborhood consider him an ordinary human being, what is the fault and the path of disciple who considers the spiritual master as an ordinary human being? This will be answered later. So you can understand the seriousness of one who's thinking anything lesser than thinking that is a ordinary or is higher. No, we must think that Supreme Lord is directly there in the form of the spiritual master. We must worship him as if you worship, how we worship the Supreme Lord. How much value, how much will be very serious. So in worshipping the Supreme Lord, same way we must be thinking in the same way. The service to the spiritual master. We should be giving our life and soul. Through him only, there is no other way to purify ourselves other than that. So that's why later on also, 11th canto, we see that he is telling, Lord himself is telling here, no, 11th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 16, Lord himself is telling how he himself is getting purified. Lord is showing is by an own example. Nirapeksham munim santim nirvairam samadarshanam anuvrajami aham nityam. Anuvrajami is going behind the pure devotees. Anuvrajami aham nityam. Nityam is every day, regularly, is going behind the pure devotees. Anuvrajami aham nityam puyeta angri renubi is going after this dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotees. With the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material world which are situated within me. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees who are free from all personal desire, wrapped in thought of my pastimes, peaceful, without any feelings of the enmity, and of equal position everywhere. Prabhupada gives a nice purpose. Just as devotees always follow in the footsteps of Lord Krishna, similarly, Lord Krishna, being a devotee of his devotees, follows the footsteps of his devotees. A pure servitor of the Lord is always meditating on the pastimes of the Lord and considering how to assist the Lord in his mission. That is the important point. When we come to temple, so we keep asking, give me this, give me that. Lord, keep asking. But we have to question ourselves. What did we do? Lord, first we have to deserve, then we can desire, we can ask. That's what one must, without any expectation of anything in return. So what is the Supreme Lord, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is teaching, Ananda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavambudo krupaya tavapada pankaja stitaduli sadrisam vichintaya. You see that? What does it mean? What is the qualification we need? Yeah? We are thinking we are not fallen, but actually our qualification must be, what is the qualification to receive the mercy? We must think that we are fallen, we are patita. That is the first and foremost qualification one living entity, the practitioner must have. Then the mercy will start coming. But the problem is we are thinking, I have a qualification. I am good in this, I am good in that, or I am this, I am that. We are thinking. We are not thinking that pati. That is why, so the Lord, the spiritual master, is just like that. If a father or a mother, especially the father or a mother also, if he has many kids, if somebody who is really needs help, somebody somehow is not able to understand what teachers are saying, or somehow his body or whatever, somehow is not able to get the things what he needs to eat or what he needs to understand, then the father and mother goes out of their way to somehow or the other to teach him, to feed him. So they, even though they have so many other kids, but that one kid, because he is very helpless, so that means his patita is fallen. So same way the Supreme Lord and spiritual master also, one who is thinking, putting himself not externally, not theoretically, practically himself, his mind and heart is crying out that I am the fallen. I need your mercy, really crying to the Supreme Lord and spiritual master. Then for them, Lord's mercy is flowing. Lord is giving the intelligence, Lord is giving the spiritual strength. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching himself. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam ma patitam. You see that word, patitam mam vishame bhavambudo. Krupaya tavapada pankaja sitaduri sadrisam vichintaya. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions in the sixth ashram is very, very super important. And the multiple reasons they give by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he says that Ainanda Tanuja, Kinkaram. So where it is mentioned as that I is used for signifying taking the mood of Srimati Radharani, so mood of thinking, because she is also thinking, because I am being obstructed from, I am fallen now, I am being obstructed from coming out to meet you, coming to serve you, but I am being obstructed by this mother-in-law and so many other different elements obstructing from my service. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is thinking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, I, generally, in South India and some other parts, I. So this is for woman, or Mataji is her mother. So that is being used, that I. So that here, that I is used. Ainanda Tanuja. That is one interpretation Acharya is giving. The other interpretation also. But you can understand, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Visham E Bhavam Guru. So that's why one must think that he is fallen. We are fallen. We don't have any qualification, neither material nor spiritual. So that's why we require a lot of mercy, prayers, humbly submitting, just like Arjuna is submitting. For that matter, we see that even Jara, one who is, when Lord Krishna disappeared from this plan, how did he disappear? He disappeared when the Jara hunter released an arrow in the 11th canto. So Jara is not ordinary person. Prabhupada explains that. Jara and hunter is offering Ajanata Kridam Ida Papena Madhusudana Santum Marhasi Papasya Uttama Slokame Anaga. I am so sinful. Oh Lord Madhusudana, I am most sinful person. I have committed this act out of ignorance. Oh purest Lord, oh Uttam Sloka, please forgive this sinner. Oh Lord Vishnu, the learned say that for any man, constant remembrance of you will destroy the darkness of ignorance. Oh Master, I have wronged you. Therefore, oh Lord of Vaikuntha, please kill this sinful hunter of animals immediately, so he may not again commit such offenses against sinful persons, saintly persons. My dear respected, and so we can see that how the Jara himself is offering his prayers to Supreme Lord to forgive him from his offenses. And there in 11th canto, in another place about Prabhas Kshetra, Yadus visiting Prabhas Kshetra, Prabhupada is quoting in the purport, big purport, that Mahabharata, Tatparya Nimaya, quoting Madhvacharya, is explaining this Jara hunter, where it is explaining following Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to bewilder the demons and ensure that the word of his own devotees and of the Brahmanas be maintained, created a body of material energy into which the arrow was shot. But the Lord's actual four-armed form was never touched by the arrow of Jara, who is actually Lord's devotee Bhrigu. In a previous age, Bhrigu Muni had placed his foot on the chest of Lord Vishnu. In order to counteract the offense of improperly placing his foot on the Lord's chest, Bhrigu had to take birth as a degraded hunter. But even though a great devotee willingly accepts such a low birth, personality of Godhead cannot tolerate seeing his devotee in such a fallen condition. Thus, the personality of Godhead arranged that at the end of Dwapar Yuga, when the Lord was winding up his manifest pastime, his devotee Bhrigu, in the form of hunter Jara, would cast the arrow into a material body created with the Lord's illusory energy. Thus, the hunter would become remorseful, gain release from his degraded birth, and go back to Vaikuntha. So you can see Jara is himself and Bhrigu. Some places you hear that Bali could have appeared as Jara, but that's not so. Directly you can see from the Prabhupada purport. This is in 11.6.35. So Prabhupada himself is quoting Madhvacharya, 11.6.35. Na vatsavyam iha asmavir jijivishubir aryaka pravasam su mahat punyam isya mo adhyaiva mahacharam. You can understand. So, and even Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur further giving how much devotees, even those who criticize, he himself is showing by his own example. So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur in Gaudiya Math, this is in Calcutta. So opposite, very close by, opposite, there used to be one Mayavadi sannyasi. He used to always criticize Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Goswami Prabhupada. And then one day he passed away. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was crying. The devotees asked, Prabhupada, why you are crying? He used to always criticize. Then Prabhupada said, he is my friend. I don't have fault, but he's making me savadhan. That's why you see in Guru Ashtaka prayers, that's why Acharya has explained that Gramya Suddhanti Sukra Sadhu Suddhanti Nindaka. Sadhu is being purified by the Nindaka. He's being checked. That means he's been told, so be savadhan, be careful. So even though we may not have fault, but that places us in a, with think twice before we say or talk, before use our tongue, before we do anything. So we will be double careful. So in this way, one must take even the criticism of devotees, criticism of people. This is showing, acharyas are showing by their own example how much we should be ready to accept anything and everything. And Lord Brahma's prayers, that's what it means. That's why here in Arjuna's prayers also, obviously, is putting to the Supreme. But here, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is teaching even further, even to the most extreme case also. Even to those who are Mayavadis, those who are outside people, envious or criticizing, still take them as Savadhan. That's why you see Sri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakati Sadhana. Bandhu Moi Savadhana Mate. Savadhan. One must be Savadhan. One must be very careful. And day after day, one must execute devotion. One must have that ultimate goal of life and giving our Krishnarpita prana. One must give our life and soul, whatever energy we have. There is no question of in bhakti of I'm tired or I'm old. Prabhupada started 70 years of old. Imagine, 70 years of old. He started. We should try to do what a teeny bit at least. Obviously, we cannot imitate, but we should. There is no question of retirement. One must offer something, right? If somebody, you keep asking, if somebody is coming to your home and without doing anything, give me this, give me that, will he give? No, nobody will give. First, one must engaging in service without asking anything. That is what bhakta. Others may ask, give me this, give me that. That's what they're after. But gopis are, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his prayers of six Ashtaka is putting himself as patita fallen. Even if you give me or not give me, even if you give associate not give me. Aslishavaam padalatam pinastumam marmahatam karodva yatha tata vatulam pato mat prananada sayevana paraha. You are my Lord and Master. Whether you break me or leave me, whatever you may do. This is the mood. This is the mood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us how to always dependent on the mercy of spiritual master. Without the Guru's darshan, Guru's mercy, you cannot get Bhagavad darshan, you cannot get Lord's mercy. So that is guaranteed because Lord is represented. Spiritual master, through spiritual master only, we can attain Krishna. There is no other way about it. So that's why this, when Arjuna is surrendering, is submitting fully, we must understand the principle of surrender, how this determination comes. That determination is coming because he is completely submitting himself in front of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Obviously, for Arjuna, Krishna is spiritual master. But for us, you cannot think that Krishna is spiritual master. Sometimes we think we'll read ourselves. We don't need anybody's association. That's why that to become Savadhan, Shastra is clearly explaining. So, Utsrijya. So, that's Utsrijya. Dussangam. That Dussangam means even our mind is in Dussanga. It's not in Sajjit. So, that's why we must take to the association of those who are attached to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. So that's why when Srila Prabhupada came, we can see he's completely dependent on Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Goswami Prabhupada, completely on 6 Goswamis. He was praying to Panchatattva, Advaita Acharya before coming, even after coming here also. He's constantly praying, he's constantly seeking their mercy and strength and intelligence, everything. He never a day passed without thinking of them and how to execute their mission. He's always thinking how to please them, how to execute their mission. He doesn't have his own ideas, thoughts, and mission. It's all theirs. So this is what Sri Prabhupada is teaching us. Acharyas are teaching us. Arjuna is teaching us. Always think about, draw everything from previous acharyas, how to please them, how to offer yourself. So Prabhupada is right there when we go to temple. We must feel that Srila Prabhupada is personally present. He is looking, he is thinking how this person will become a pure devotee. He wants everyone to become a pure devotee of the Lord. So he is ready to accept anything and everything from us, and he is ready to reciprocate it, provided we are ready. We are ready. We want to reciprocate with him. So we must consider who is sitting. If you consider that he is just a murti or statue, then nothing much you can do, because it is not by force. It is by loving emotions. You must, with devotion, with the heart, especially the mind and soul and body and kayam, as pranamya pranidaya kayam. That it is very significant in this verse. And that is what we see that from Kaliya also. Kaliya snake, all the Nagapatnis offered their obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. Multiple verses offering prayers. Our obeisance again and again. Please forgive. A master must once at least forgive the servant's offenses. You must have done great pious credits. Otherwise, how your souls are touching his hoods and your souls are touching, your feet is touching. It is impossible for one to have the darshan or dust of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So please forgive him. You are the Supreme Master. Where else we go? So please relieve him. We are the wives of Kaliya. Please relieve him. They are offering. By their prayers, Lord immediately relieved. He came out from the hoods. And then he gave the life force. And otherwise, he is about to die. Kaliya is about to die. Then Lord said, you go back to the Ramaniya lake. That is now Fiji. It is called Fiji. Ramaniya lake. So Garuda will not do anything, because I have given the mercy, I have given the promise. So you go back, but don't be here again. Don't come to this Yamuna lake and spoil, because all the cows and all the cohort boys, everybody uses this water. So in this way, we can understand this pranamya pranidaya kalma, how to offer ourselves in the service of the Supreme Lord, especially through spiritual master, utmost importance. Idam sarvam Guru Bhaktya, everything, no other thing. By just simply by Guru Bhaktya, everything else can be received, everything can be done by simply. But one must have that complete faith, complete surrender. Thing that he is as good as Supreme Lord, is the Lord and Master. For me, Lord and Master. Even if Lord appears, where is my Guru? We must be just like Dhruva Maharaj. You see Dhruva Maharaj past time. So that's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is reading. This is why. Because Dhruva Maharaj was not popped up. When the Lord has given the mercy, he was pure. You could see directly the Lord. Still he was not popped up. When he was going, the Vaikuntha plane appeared with all the Vaikuntha Vasis, associates. What did he do? He was not popped up. He was offering obeisances to all the sages there. He was circumambulating that whole Vaikuntha plane, he was offering obeisance, then he got to the plane. So this is the etiquette of a Vaishnava. This is the mood of a Vaishnava. He is always thinking his fallen, he doesn't have a qualification. This qualification is given by my Guru. By my Guru's mercy. And this is what Prahlad Maharaj is thinking. This is what Hanuman is thinking. And this is what Pandavas are thinking. This is what Yadus are thinking. So all the great devotees, this is what they think. They don't claim it is their qualification. They claim it is by the spiritual master qualification. So that's why they are thinking that they are patita, they are fallen. So this is what we have to understand. Take that instruction, very, very serious instruction, to try to practice in that way slowly and gradually. Then we can really purify ourselves. Otherwise, it is impossible task. The Lord is showing the universal form. Nobody else has ever seen it. That kind of universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna is himself feeling that he is very grateful, and he is submitting to the Lord with full and full. Is offering, is seeking forgiveness, is repenting for using his. He came out from his that friendship role and came out in the mood of a servant, a patita. Is thinking in that way, and then he's offering these beautiful prayers. One word, each and every verse is very significant. Very, very deep meanings are there. So thank you very much for patiently listening. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय।
Yeah, thank you so much, Krishna Ananda Prabhu. Such a wonderful class. Thank you so much of lots of wonderful points that we can all take it in our life. Devotion, bhakti is the ultimate. Devotional service is the ultimate. Thank you. If anybody, dear devotees, anybody else has any comments or questions or concerns, anything you would like to add, please go ahead. It's very quiet. Anybody else anything to add? Able to hear me? Just checking.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah.
Ved Sharma Prabhu.
Go ahead,
No,
please.
Prabhu, no. I have nothing to add. This is so deep, very detailed. There are so many points that I did not know of before. So the cardinal point that you brought up is that it is the surrender until and unless. So it's easy if you surrender. It's not. It's difficulty if one does not surrender. Thank you very much. So yeah. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, who's giving these instructions, deep instructions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, you mentioned that when we come to the temple and take darshan of the deities, we should remember the person whose mercy through which the deities have come. So all ISKCON temples world over, it is, of course, Srila Prabhupada. What about the times when you go to a non-ISKCON temple and there are deities there? Then are we still considering Srila Prabhupada because of his mercy? We are at least visiting temples and taking darshan of deities. How does that work?
Yes, just like if other temple, I'm giving an example, even like if you go to Sri Radha Damodar Mandir or Sri Radha Govindji temple, then we pray to Sri Rupa Goswami, obviously to Sri Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami, that please shower your mercy, please give me spiritual strength and mercy to understand, so intelligence, so that we can understand, we can recognize a Vaishnava, we can serve better, make me as an instrument in the hands of my Guru, so that I can serve better, not be attracted by Maya. In that way, so by their mercy, we can understand. So other temples, if we go, so then if it is Vaishnava temples, most of them, especially other Hindu temples, 90% or 95%, at least majority, are in Ramanuja Sampradaya. So we can offer prayers through our Acharyas, Sri Prabhupada and or 6 Goswamis, and we can also offer. There's no problem in offering. Ramanuja Acharya is such a great Vaishnava Acharya, great Acharya, pure devotee of the Lord, is a direct incarnation of, I believe, Vayu, I believe. Madhvacharya is Vayu, Ramanujacharya is, I forget, is almost Siktavesh. So empowered personality, not ordinary, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. So that's why by offering our obeisances, offering prayers, seeking their mercy, always we'll be able to understand, connect with the Lord, because Lord may not accept our prayers or may not communicate, may not be reciprocating, but when we go through a spiritual master, their Ishta disciple, so then definitely Lord has no choice but to accept our prayers, whether we will receive immediately the reciprocation or seen later on in the form of mercy, some transformation, some in some form or the other, whether immediately or later, definitely we'll see. We'll be able to understand that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. Anyone else has any other questions, comments, reflections?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is Shiva join.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Question, Prabhu. You said that we go through the Guru and then God doesn't have any choice. So what does it mean exactly going through Guru? I know like we get initiated with the Guru and all, but Prabhupada, I mean, when we go to this ISKCON temple, we are going through Guru Prabhupada, right? So are you inferring different than that, or?
Yes, it means Guru means physical Guru.
Okay.
So Prabhupada is our preeminent Siksha Guru for all. Is our founder Acharya. Definitely, we are getting the mercy. We must seek mercy. By his mercy, we get physical Guru who can instruct us in personal form. Otherwise, you think that everybody thinks that Prabhupada is Guru, then nobody. Then if Prabhupada would have thought that, then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati is Guru. Then no need of a Guru after that. If Ramanuja is thought, then why there are so many disciples? In that way, you can think, Lord only, then why anybody else to be Guru? No. So that's why you have to have a Guru in person. In person. That's why Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives his commentary that sometimes we see that, oh, this person is not initiated, but he got darshan of Srimad Radharani, or this person in Jagannath Puri, so many got Jagannath's mercy, they're not initiated. That's why he's giving his commentary that it is not possible to without the mercy of devotee from this life or previous life, that you don't know, you haven't seen. That doesn't mean you assume it. Praktan Bhakta or Parampara Bhakta, one more is used. Adunika. So one, we are like this life we are receiving Guru's mercy. That is in this life. That is Adunik. The Praktan means in the previous life. One has connected already to a Guru. So in this life is continuing. Like in Jagannath Puri, we know many examples. Dasya Bauri and many other examples. So that those are falling under this Praktan Bhakta. That means in the previous life they have already received. And then the third one is Paramparik. Paramparik means we as devotees or disciples, we have taken initiation. We might be instructing others. We may not have 100% faith, but those, the first and foremost, as I mentioned already, the quality is one must feel that patita. That means one must be very simple in the heart. If the person who is not simple at heart, then it's very difficult. So we may not have faith, even though we surrender, taken initiation. But we are giving that message to others. If somebody who is very sincere, very simple in his heart, he will take it as it is and he will start following it without any doubts and no questions. Simply follows. And that is also, he is getting the mercy in that way. So in that way they will also. In some of the cases, Prabhupada said, one who is receiving my books, they're also they are being initiated in that way. That doesn't mean we stop taking. You see, these are the extreme mercy but it is coming through again bhakta. Without devotee's mercy, it is not possible. Vishwanath Chakravarti, based on his commentary and others, it is clearly mentioned it has to be through the mercy of pure devotees only. Otherwise, the Lord himself will not say like this. Dussangam, Usrijya, Sajjet, one must be. Our Lord is taking pure devotee's mercy. Our Narada was instructing. So, example after example, throughout the beginning, Bhagavatam begins with that example of Narada Muni, how himself is getting the initiated by Bhakti Vedantis, how Vyasdev is being initiated. Then if Bhagavatam is showing an example, one who is not initiated and gone through these stages, then you can see Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's why it detailedly explains this process, where you can see, I'll read, and then you understand the position. The word Guru Prasada indicates spiritual master is very merciful, is bestowing boon of devotion service upon the disciple. This is the best possible gift that the spiritual master has to offer. Further, you see that is Bhakti Lata Bij. There, Bhakti Lata Bij is being mentioned. Everything has an original cause. For an idea, program, plan, or device, there is first of all contemplation of the plan. That is called Bija or seed. The methods, the rules, and regulations by which one is perfectly trained in devotion service constitute the Bhakti Lata Bij or seed of devotion service. This Bhakti Lata Bij is received from a spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. Other seeds called as Anya Abhilasha Bij include Karma Bij, Jnana Bij. If one is not fortunate enough to receive Bhakti Lata Bij from the spiritual master, he instead cultivates such seeds as Karma Bij, Jnana Bij, political, social, philanthropic Bijas. However, Bhakti Lata Bij is different from these other Bijas. The Bhakti Lata Bij can be received only through the mercy of spiritual master. Therefore, one has to satisfy spiritual master to get the Bhakti Lata Bij. This Bhakti Lata Bij is the origin of devotional service. Unless one satisfies spiritual master, he gets the Bija, root cause of karma, jnana, and yoga without the benefit of devotional service. But one who is faithful to his spiritual master gets the Bhakti Lata Bij. This Bhakti Lata Bij is received when one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. After receiving the spiritual master mercy, one must repeat his instruction. And this is called Sravana Kirtana. This is also very important for all devotees, even seniors or advanced devotees. Sravana Kirtana, hearing and chant. One who has not properly heard from the spiritual master or who does not follow the regulative principles is not fit for chanting Kirtana. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita 2.41. Vyavasayatmaka buddhi eke kurunandra. One who has not listened carefully to the instruction of spiritual master is unfit for chanting or for preaching the cult of devotion service. One has to water the Bhakti Lata Bij by receiving the instruction of spiritual master. Simple example, you see the plants. Bhakti is compared with a creeper. In a creeper, especially, or even a tree, if you look at any tree, when the time comes for the fruit or a flower, you need to put more water. It requires more water. And also look at the tree. The more it is strong and sturdy, withstanding all the winds, whether it's a cold or heat or rain, its roots are strong and long. What does it mean? The roots are the mercy of the spiritual master. The roots must be strong. The strength, spiritual strength, the mercy must be coming from spiritual master. To the degree we have that strength, to that degree we can withhold. Even if we fall, the guru will come to take a disciple. Just like when strong tree falls down sometimes, what happens? It pulls up even the mud and everything, earth also it pulls up. It is not leaving. So that's how one must be attached to guru like that. So much deeply attached that Lord has no choice, but he has to help through a guru. So that's why it is very important. So the creeper, small creeper, the bhakti is compared with creeper. Creeper, even if you take out one small stem of the creeper and move it this side, that side, it immediately collapses. It loses it, so it's very delicate. So that's why this is in Madhya Leela, chapter 19, verse number 152. If you read few verses before and after, we can understand actually how one receives this Bhakti Lata Bij. The seed is sown at the time of initiation from a physical in-presence guru. That means you could receive through a letter also, but he must be in person in this life, in this world. Not like you put in front of picture or you think Sri Prabhupada is guru, I don't need to take him. No, that is not the answer. That is not what we are understanding from Srimad Bhagavatam. That's not what we are understanding from Sadhu and Shastra. Again and again, repeatedly it is being said. So that means one must, it's a gradual step. I'm not saying that everybody is ready to take initiation tomorrow. No, that's not. It requires 6 months to a year. Even when Prabhupada immediately, when the 66, 67 also Prabhupada said, the 6 months to 1 year, it is called Purascharya. Even when Rupa Goswami got initiated, there was the engaged two Brahmanas to chant the holy names on their name. Everything is, nothing is by chance, everything is happening, and everything must be understood through Sadhu Shastra Guru. There is no speculation here. That's how Srila Prabhupada taught us. That's what we have to follow. Is that clear?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. There's a little bit misconception about that one. So thanks for clarifying. So, yeah, that.
Thank you. All those Prabhupada.
Hari Bol Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Dandavat
Yes.
Pranam.
Good.
Yes, Prabhu. You just spoke about that Guru, and you told that we need to listen carefully, listen and everything, and follow the four liquidic principle. Then we are eligible for chanting. But without chanting, we cannot listen to the Guru, and this is the either way also, right? We have to chant, then we can go follow the everything, right?
Yes. The chanting means it may not yield the results. It may not yield the results of transformation in the heart. We may chant. That's why, yes. So that is we have to understand carefully. When, just like before initiation, many devotees chant. That doesn't mean, it gives mercy to certain degree. Certain level. It cannot give further. And then after Guru gives initiation, then more mercy is there. Then you are qualified to the next level. Adau Guru Ashrayam, Saddharma Prucha, Vishramba Sevanam, Sadhu Marganu Gamanam. Shastra is giving all this process. Adau Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sango, Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya is initiation. Anartha Nivurti, then the next level. Initial preliminary is there, next step 1, step 2, just like our exams. Unit test, quarterly, final, semi-finals, all these gradual step by step, same way. The chanting also is there. For first initiation is called Harinam Diksha. We are already chanting before. Then why Guru is giving the mantra? We are supposed to hear from Guru that mantra, because that has the potency. We don't have the potency to transform our heart by our own, unless the bhakti bija is given, mantra. That's why there is a verse, I think I didn't read, mantra upadishtena. There is, I think, ata mantra upadishtena yogena avarurutsasi yat prasada savai pumsam duraradyo mato mama. In 4th canto, 8th chapter, verse number 30. Now you have decided to undertake the mystic process of meditation under the instruction of your mother, just to achieve the mercy of the Lord. But in my opinion, such austerities are not possible for any ordinary man. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why one must be going through a Guru. But he's testing how much determined he is. Obviously, then he gave his blessing, he initiated him, he gave the mantra. Then exactly the Dhruva Maharaj followed exactly Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva mantra at that time. Time, place, circumstance. Guru gives different mantras to different people at different time. So he followed the mantra, he followed the process, offering and everything, and steps of the process. So everything exactly followed. That's why 6 months Lord has appeared by the mercy of Narada. So chanting helps. Doesn't mean you stop chanting. No. After initiation, but Shastra here the instruction is you carefully listen. Then your even one word you may understand or not understand. Carefully try to endeavor to listen. Then by that mercy, our chanting can be improved. Our amardas will be taken away. Then we will try to chant better. That's what it means. That it requires some mercy, strength, potency to purify our heart, to chant from offensive way to Namabhas and Namabhas to Suddhanam. 3 stages. So we discussed previously in one class also the inattentive chanting. Mr. Bhakti Thakur explained now Harinam Chintamani, 12th chapter. So another place also there is different descriptions are there that we'll see. Time permits in some other classes we'll discuss. But it's very important. The chanting, even second initiation also, chanting is there. That doesn't mean you think that Harinama is lesser quality. That's why you're asking for second initiation. I need Gayatri. No, Harinama is powerful. But for you to meditate, for you to more and more absorbed in Lord's meditation, Lord's qualities, Lord's form, this Gayatri is given so that you can chant better. The supreme mantra is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You don't need any other. But all these other processes, worshipping the deity, everything else is helping your chanting to become better and better and better. So everything, all other processes helps to chant better, because we don't have the personal connection. No? That is the problem. Why? When we are chanting, we are asking for service. But when to do perfect service, you have to personally feel that Lord is there, like Prabhupada is there, personally feel. He is offering, he is accepting my offering. That means I must offer something when I come to meet him. Like just like you still Prabhupada is in front of you, what you will do? You offer your obeisances, you chant loudly, you offer flower, you offer whatever you got. For Prabhupada, everybody runs to Prabhupada to give something. When Prabhupada is personally present, he's not different, he's there personally. Who said not to give something, offering? That's why you see sometimes the devotees offer something also. So we must feel that Prabhupada is there. Same way the deity is there in person. Doesn't mean he's not reciprocal. We are not seeing face to face. He's not talking to us. That doesn't mean he's not there. So that it requires certain, some certain purity. It requires certain activity with surrender, as Arjuna is submitting here. And then gradually we will receive that mercy. That by that mercy, the chanting will improve. That's a personal relationship. More you develop personal relationship, the chanting improves. You're touching the feet of Sri Prabhupada, you're touching the feet of the deity, you're worshipping, you're offering something, you're bringing something every time. All these activities to bring that, you're wearing the neck beads, you're putting tilak, every time you're thinking, I'm servant of Krishna, I'm servant of my Guru. Constantly we have to be reminded ourselves. Then gradually our chanting is getting improved through each and every activity. So that's what it is. We have to understand this essence behind, principle behind. That verse, that purport is not saying that you stop chanting. The real transformation of the chanting will happen only when actually, that just like the example of a tree. Few days you don't put water, what will happen? The tree will die immediately? No, it will not die. It will not die. Maybe very few plants will do that. But most of the plants will stay still. If you don't prolong it for a certain time, then it may die. But not suddenly. Same way, if you stop chanting for quite some time, then we will be pulled into Maya. Then we will be completely stopping, going back to material activities. That will happen. Same way, that the example is that's why it is compared with Bhakti Kripa. How Kripa is so delicate, our process is also very delicate. And to the degree we follow sincerely, to that degree it will grow nicely to come to the fruits and flowers, and then we'll cross through the Viraja river, enter into Vaikuntha, and it will actually yield the actual fruits of service to the through Guru to the Supreme Lord. Even there in Vaikuntha, there is a Guru. Whether we are directly seeing or indirectly, Guru is passing on to delegating to somebody and to engaging in the service of the Lord through his associates. What is our Swarupa? Everything will be revealed at some point when we come to that Bhava Asakti stage. Not now. We don't need to theoretically think that I am in this form, I need some other mantra. No, that's not required. That's not needed. Prabhupada has given everything. We just need to follow as it is, step by step. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhu, very much clear, Prabhu. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Very nicely you explained. One more thing, Prabhu, just asking you. So
Yeah.
we are following the 4 regulating principle and doing the 16 round japa. Maybe the qualitative, maybe not qualitative. Quality is not bad or not good, or quality is good, but we are doing this, but we are not regularly listening. Not the regularly, most of the time I'm for my case, I'm not listening Guru Maharaj's lecture. I'm listening other lectures and others lectures like that. In the morning there is Bhagavatam class, there is lecture also, and evening there is some Gita class, there is lecture also. So that thing you are, how do you what is your thought about this?
Understood your question. So the Acharyas give the process, the temple, the authority, the system which Sri Prabhupada has given established, through which one should try to follow. Because system, Prabhupada has established the system. We haven't created these temples and the system and the process day to day, what to do from morning to evening. So we need to follow. So you are already following, which is very good. and Prabhupada will give them through mercy, then he will arrange a time by which you can hear either evening or morning or on the weekdays or weekends, sometime in a day or a week. You can hear Sri Prabhupada lectures, you can hear from spiritual master, if possible. So later on, gradually more our seriousness and everything, then Lord will arrange everything, balances your life and your job, your family, then gradually you'll get time to hear. So that's how it is. You need to manage. But definitely, Guru never wants. Sometimes devotees, disciples have this understanding that if Guru comes, I'll run behind him and then I will leave my service of even the deity worship. No, that's not what Guru meant. If that is the case, then why you see Jayananda Prabhu running behind service, even when Prabhupada was there? No, that's not what Guru wants. Guru wants, if you are assigned for service, you are supposed to do that service. If temple has arranged the classes, you are supposed to attend as much as possible. That's what this is. Prabhupada has established these temples. It is not somebody else come and establish. By his mercy, these temples are giving the system and the process and the time. They are giving the time. Somebody has to allocate the time to have this system in place. So that means we have to try to follow as much as possible. We are all busy. As much as possible, we try to follow. And then other times, you try to listen. If it is not every day, it is not possible. Okay, you try to listen on the weekend. While taking bath or while brushing the teeth, you switch on the tape of Sri Prabhupada or switch on the tape of Guru and listen 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, even 1 minute for that matter. Even one word you hear from Guru, one line you hear from Guru. It is very strong. It can really penetrate into the heart and break all the anarthas. So it's a gradual process. So it is a question of our surrender and sincerity. And Lord will give time and arranges, balances everything else. So it will happen. So just seriously pray and surrender. Then everything will be all right.
Okay, Prabhu. Haribol, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Dandavat Pranam to you, Prabhu.
Okay, Jai. Thank you. It's a wonderful discussion. Wonderful, so nice to hear and nice, wonderful questions and very enlivening, very powerful. Thank you so much, Krishna Ananda Prabhu and dear devotees. And also we have a book distribution call today. So I would also humbly request, today is Ekadashi, it's called Apara Ekadashi. It's a very, very beneficial, one who worship the Lord, Supreme Lord on this, especially on this day, and they will attain lots of glories in this world. And the lots of wonderful pastime also behind this Apara Ekadashi, that we would be relieved, one who observed this, be relieved even from the Brahmahatya, even from the, Brahmahatya means even killing the, living entities. So that's powerful it is, and this was explained by the Supreme Lord to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And even by observing this fast, even those who are attained in the form of a ghost and they were stuck, and even observing this fast in the behalf of them, and they would be also can be relieved and attain the Supreme. That's powerful it is. And especially on this auspicious Ekadashi, and one who engages in the devotional service, especially chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavata and the glories of the Supreme Lord, association of the devotees, worshipping Tulasi, all this have immense beneficial. That means we get wonderful purification, that our consciousnesses get purified and we can more focus, chant like Krishna Amanda Prabhuji mentioned, we can attentively chant the holy name. So thank you so much for such a wonderful association, devotees. That's very, very wonderful that you all are wonderful devotees and joining, and we all get that association. Is invaluable in this world. There is unlimited mercy. That's why we are here. So thank you so much. So we will continue with our next program, the book distribution call. And I would humbly request devotees stay so that we can discuss further on the book distribution activities. Also, thank you so much, Krishna Amanda Prabhu, for such a wonderful class. And also, don't leave. Tomorrow and Saturday, we will be having Hari Parshad Prabhu is going to give a wonderful seminar, I would say, a series of classes on the Krishna's pastimes, especially on the childhood pastimes of the Supreme Lord, as well as the importance of hearing and engaging in the service of the Lord, Smaranam and remembering the Lord, and the Kirtan and the chanting of the holy name. That would be on Saturday evening. And I would humbly request, don't miss this. These are the nectars that, that the Amrit or nectar, what that gives immortality. So like that, we get the spiritual, and just by hearing all those, we get tremendous purification, as well as we can focus more on the Supreme. Otherwise, Maya can absorb us. So this is the way that we can come out of it. So I would humbly request, please join on Saturday and Friday, tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. and Saturday at 7 p.m. So please join. Also Sunday we are having Radha Shyam Prabhu, His Grace Radha Shyam Prabhu. Radha Shyam Prabhu is giving the lecture on the 4 sutras of the Bhagavad Gita, or we can say that the important verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And he's an IITian, and he got some PhD, and he has wrote a lot of books, Radha Shyam Prabhu. And by his mercy, he had established a beautiful temple in Pune, and it was quite amazing. And the entire life is dedicated for Supreme, and we definitely should have such a wonderful association with such exalted devotees. Please don't miss on Sunday as well. So thank you so much, and thank you, Krishnamanda Prabhu, for such a wonderful class. And I think we would go with the book distribution call now. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyo Padidanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.